Continuing with chapter number 8, Psychology and Life, the topics we'll be dealing with today are aggression, violence and peace, and health. Aggression, according to psychologists, is any behavior by one person or persons that is intended to cause harm to another person or persons. It can be of two types: instrumental aggression and hostile aggression. Intentional and planned out beforehand are examples of instrumental aggression. And instrumental aggression is also goal oriented. So say for example, a child in the class beats up his classmate in order to snatch his chocolate away. So to obtain a particular goal, when someone engages in aggression, it is called instrumental aggression, and it can cause physical, social or emotional harm. Hostile aggression is shown as an expression of anger towards the target with the intention of harming him or her, even if the aggressor does not wish to obtain anything from the victim. So in hostile aggression, the individual is, or the aggressor is not really trying to obtain a goal or obtain an object from the victim, but is engaging in aggression as an expression of anger. So if you are angry on your friend because she has complained about you to the teacher, and you slap your friend, that is an example of hostile aggression. So you're not obtaining anything from your friend, but because you're angry on her, you're being aggressive towards her. Next, we have the causes of aggression. There are 4 causes. First, inborn tendency. So it is believed that aggression is like an instinct, okay, just how it is there in animals. So biologically, this inborn tendency may be meant for self-defense, so that you can save yourself and protect yourself. Next one is physiological mechanism. Aggression could also be indirectly triggered by physiological mechanisms. So when certain parts of your brain are activated, that's when you engage in aggression, because it has a role to play in the kind of emotions you're experiencing. A general physiological state of arousal or feeling activated might often be expressed in the form of aggression. Now, there could be several factors that cause arousal. For example, as was seen earlier in this chapter, aggression can result from a sense of crowding. So if you are in a very crowded place, it alters your emotional state. It makes you feel irritated and it makes you feel restless. And also, if the weather is very hot and if it's very humid, it will alter your emotional state, and it may kind of compel you to engage in aggressive behavior. Next one is child rearing. As all of us know, the way we are brought up can influence a lot of our personality. So even aggressiveness is influenced by the way we are brought up, the kind of family background we come from. So if children are given physical punishment, and if they have parents who are very aggressive towards them, they imitate those behaviors, they learn those behaviors, and they express the same kinds of behavior when they grow up. The next one is frustration. Anger is an expression and consequence of frustration. That is an emotional state that arises when a person is restricted or prevented from reaching a particular goal or attaining that particular object that he or she wants. So if you are what is frustration? When goal directed behaviors get blocked, it is called frustration, right? So when your goal directed behaviors get blocked, you get frustrated and then engage in aggression. Which brings us to a theory called the frustration aggression theory, or the first frustration aggression hypothesis, which was given by John Dollard. Okay, that's Dollard. So he proposes that frustration leads to aggression. When people are frustrated, they engage in aggression. So that is known as frustration aggression theory. Next, we have the situational factors that cause aggression. So if you are asked in general what are the factors that cause aggression, after you write about inborn tendency, physiological mechanisms, child rearing and frustration, you also need to mention the situational factors. Okay, but if you are specifically asked what are the situational factors, then you need to write only these. First one is learning. So like modeling, the example that I gave of child rearing. If my role model is someone who engages in a lot of aggressive behavior, I'm going to imitate those behaviors considering he or she is my role model. So through learning, right? Next is observing an aggressive model. Now if I see that an individual is aggressive and he is able to obtain what he or she wants, um, I'm also going to believe that I can obtain whatever I want by being aggressive towards other people. Okay, so that is how, for example, in Albert Bandura's theory, where we learned about how, um, how they imitate the behaviors of the role models. Similarly, aggression as a behavior can also be imitated. Anger provoking action by others. So sometimes, because people around you provoke you to be angry, you become aggressive towards other people. Or say, for example, you watch a movie which has a lot of aggression in it, and or violence in it, and you come out and someone outside the theater passes a comment or eve teases you. It's going to provoke anger in you, and you may engage in an aggressive behavior. Availability of weapons of aggression. So if you're angry and if there are weapons around you, then you tend to be more aggressive, more violent. Next, we have personality factors. So when interacting with people, we notice that some of them seem to be naturally more hot tempered, and some more and show more aggression than others. So there are some people who are more short tempered and they get angry very easily, and it's very difficult to calm those people down. So usually with people with a very strong personality are like that. um, we can also say that mm, aggressiveness is thus a personal quality. So it has been observed that people who have very low self-esteem and feel insecure may behave aggressively in order to boost their ego. So sometimes there are these people who keep criticizing other people or insulting and humiliating other people just so that they can boost their own ego. So this is an example, or this is a proof that personality factors also determine how aggressive an individual is. Next, coming to cultural factors, the culture in which one grows up can teach its members to be aggressive or not by encouraging and praising aggressive behavior. So if you're brought up in a culture where aggressiveness is glorified, and if you are reinforced for it, then you're going to believe that it's a good behavior and you're going to keep engaging in it more and more. Whereas if you're brought up in a culture where aggressive behavior is criticized and is discouraged, then you're not going to engage in it. Some tribal communities are traditionally peace loving, whereas others see aggression as necessary for survival. um, Next, we have strategies to reduce aggression and violence. Aggression should not be encouraged or rewarded. So if a child is seen being aggressive towards someone and you appreciate by saying, oh, you're a hero and all of that, in some way or the other, the child is going to feel good about himself and is going to be reinforced about it. So you may pass on a wrong message, right? So in no way we need to encourage, or we should encourage or reward an aggressive behavior. Observation and imitation of behaviors of aggressive models should be reduced. So in families, parents need to be careful and observant about what kind of movies and what kind of shows are the children watching. If if they're watching movies where aggressive behaviors are portrayed as very heroic, and if they're portrayed in a very glorified manner, they're definitely going to imitate those behaviors. Next, we have poverty and social injustice should be checked. So it's been seen through research that because of conditions like poverty and social injustice that people experience, those kind of people are more aggressive. Okay, so poverty and social justice may be a prominent cause of aggression because they can cause frustration in certain sections of the society. They're frustrated because they're not able to obtain the basic necessities of life, or they're frustrated because they're not given the same rights as another section of the society, and therefore they engage in aggressive behavior. Now, we also need to inculcate the positive attitude towards peace. So, apart from all the other factors that we have talked about, we need to emphasize or give importance the on the value of peace. Okay, instead of always telling people or advising people about what they shouldn't do. Okay, like do not reinforce aggressive behavior, do not observe aggressive models. We also need to emphasize on what they should be doing instead. So they should be engaging in um, activities that will lead to peace, or that will contribute towards peace. Next, coming to the concept of health. Health includes biological, psychological, social aspects of health. It focuses not only on physical health but also on mental and spiritual aspects of health. So again, most people have this misconception that health only refers to the physical well-being, but health actually refers to an overall well-being where the individual is physically, mentally, and spiritually sound. Now, there are various factors that are associated with physical well-being, according to psychologists. So, to what extent is your physical well-being very sound and well, is determined by three factors, according to psychologists. First one is cognitions. Now, in this part, they're talking about how whether you seek a doctor's help or not um, depends on your perception about your symptoms. Okay, now say for example pain as a symptom. Pain is a perception. Okay, now you and I may be biologically suffering from the same amount of pain, but your perception of that pain may be lesser as compared to my perception of that amount of pain. Now if you perceive that pain to be less, you will not seek a doctor's help. But if I perceive that pain as a lot of pain, then I'm going to seek a doctor's help. Or also in terms of, if you know the cause of your symptom, for example, if you know that you are suffering from a cold because you ate an ice cream, then you will definitely not go to see a doctor because you already know what the cause is and that you're going to recover. But in situations where you don't know what the cause is, or if you feel that you're suffering from something because of fate, and because God doesn't love you, or God is annoying, or God is kind of cursing you, then you may not see a doctor. So if you think that it's destiny to suffer from a disease, you will not see the doctor. So cognitions, or what thought processes you have about your illnesses, is going to determine how healthy you are. Next factor is behavior. Psychologists have found very strong evidence which shows that behaviors we engage in and our lifestyles greatly influence health. So if we engage in behaviors like smoking or use of tobacco, alcohol and drug abuse, unsafe sexual behavior, diet and physical exercise is not there, if we engage in behaviors like this, definitely our well-being is not going to be up to mark, and our physical health is going to be affected adversely. So a discipline called behavior medicine has been developed. It seeks to alleviate or remove stress due to diseases through modification in behavior. So this branch emphasizes on modifying or replacing dysfunctional behaviors of people in order to reduce the symptoms of a particular disease. The third factor is social and cultural factors. There is now this growing body of research which shows that social and cultural differences may also influence our biological responses, and may not be the same across all cultures. So it's different, okay, across all cultures. Now, for example, the relationship between hostility and anger and coronary heart disease is found to be the same in all cultures. So, for example, India and China, when people have coronary heart disease, it can be linked to hostility and anger, and it's the same in India and China, but certain factors may be different. While interaction between culture and physiological responses require more evidence, social and cultural norms associated with roles and gender, etc., greatly influence our health behavior. For example, in a society like ours, in India, when we get an advice from a health worker who is a female, we don't take it very seriously, or we don't think it is very reliable. We feel that a male doctor is more experienced and is more reliable. So these factors also determine the level of well-being we as people have. So that's about health, and that's about the chapter. We have come to an end of it.